Summary of Do Not Say We Have Nothing by Madeleine Thien. Li Ling thinks back to when her father, Jiang Kai, killed himself when she was 10 years old. Li Ling thought her father was a quiet, shy person when he was alive, but after he died, she found out that in China, he was a well-known musician. He leaves her and her mother alone in cold Canada, and after he dies, her mother becomes obsessed with going through all the papers he left behind. Li Ling's mom gets a long letter from China one day. It's from Ling, a family friend and the wife of Kai's old music teacher. She wants Li Ling's mother to take in her daughter, Ai Ming, who is in Canada and has nowhere to go. Ai Ming is 19 years old, and she took part in the riots in China's Tiananmen Square. Because of this, she needs to find political asylum in Canada. Ai Ming stays for 3 months with Li Ling and her mother, and she and Li Ling become very close. One day, Ai Ming finds the book of records in the stack of papers under the kitchen table. This is a piece of writing that has been in her family for a long time. Ai Ming starts to read Li Ling the book. In it, they learn about Big Mother Knife and Swirl, two sisters who, during the Chinese Civil War, are young women who sing and perform in different towns and villages across the countryside to make a living. When the dreamer, the youngest child of a rich family of landowners in rural China, falls in love with Swirl because of how well she sings. Wen actually woos Swirl by sending her chapters of the Book of Records, an interesting story about two loves who lose touch after the Communist Revolution. But the book ends in the middle of a chapter, and Wen and Swirl finally meet in person when they are both looking for the next chapter of the Book of Records at a shop owned by Ling's aunt, the old cat. Big Mother Knife, meanwhile, goes back to her husband, Ba Lut, after the war is over. Ba Lut served in the communist resistance and came back as a revolutionary hero. Big Mother Knife and Ba Lut have 3 boys together, Sparrow, Deshawn, and Flying Bear. She and Ba Lut have different ideas about many things, and she doesn't believe in communism as much as he does. Back in Canada, outside of the Book of Records, it's time for Ai Ming to try to cross into the US. She has heard that as a Chinese student, she can get refuge in the US. One day, Li Ling's mom drives Ai Ming to the border and sees him get on a bus to San Francisco. Li Ling keeps reading the Book of Records when she gets back to Vancouver. She finds out that both Swirl and Wen the Dreamer have to go through a lot because of land reform. Wen's family has always been rich in his village, so in the name of land reform, some member of Wen's family is publicly shamed and killed. Wen and Swirl are sent to live in a hut on the edge of town with their young daughter, Julie. Julie was kicked out of the village school, so she spends her days wandering. One day, she goes down a trapdoor on her family's old land. There, she finds a secret library with books and instruments. She finds out that she loves music. But one day, a kid in the neighborhood sees her going through the trapdoor, and the other people in the town soon figure out where she is hiding. They send Wen the Dreamer and Swirl to re-education camps in the northwest of the country as punishment for hiding money from the town. 6-year-old Julie is sent to Shanghai to live with her aunt, Big Mother Knife, and her family. There, Julie can get better at the music she loves. She is a good violinist and goes to the Shanghai Conservatory, where her cousin Sparrow teaches and where the program head, He Luting, is known for teaching Western composers even though the government says they are counter-revolutionary. After being in the re-education camp for many years and almost starving to death, Swirl is finally let out and moved to Shanghai to live with Big Mother Knife and her family. One day, Sparrow lets a poor boy in, and the boy gives him a strange letter. It's from Wen the Dreamer, and in it he says hello to Julie and Swirl but doesn't say where he is. At the same time, Julie, Sparrow, and a student named Jiang Kai make a group of friends at the conservatory. Kai is in a relationship with both Julie and Sparrow, but neither of them knows that the other is in a relationship with their friend. Kai is the son of poor farmers who joined the Communist Revolution and died in the famine that followed it. Kai is well liked by kids at the conservatory because he comes from a great family. Kai is a part of secret, counterculture groups, even though he comes from a revolutionary family. One day, he takes Sparrow and Julie to a secret meeting where Old Cat leads a group that reads books that the government says are against the revolution. Soon, Kai and Sparrow will have a chance to go to rural China to find folk songs for the school to play. Before he left, Balut asked Sparrow to meet up with Comrade Glass Eye, a former communist rebel he used to work with. Balut thinks Comrade Glass Eye might know where When the Dreamer is. During their trip, Kai and Sparrow meet Comrade Glass Eye. From him, they learn that When the Dreamer fled the re-education camps and is now wandering around China with stolen identity cards. When they got back from their trip, Swirl found out that her husband was free, so she decided to go find one. She carefully copies chapters of the Book of Records, changing the words so that they code the location of notes from the Underground, a plant and flower clinic run by Swirl's friend Lady Dostoevsky, who saved her from starvation in the re-education camps. She and Big Mother Knife decide to send these chapters all over the Northwest, hoping that one will find one and know to meet Swirl at the plant and flower clinic. At the same time, the Cultural Revolution is happening, and Kai almost automatically joins the Red Guard, a student group, because of his background in revolution. He picks on the kids at the conservatory who have been called rightists or whose parents have been called anti-revolutionaries. This includes Julie, whose parents have been called rightists. One day, a group of students tries to attack her as she leaves the conservatory, but she gets away with the help of Tofu Lu, whose parents have also been called rightists. Still, even with the help of Tofu, Julie's friends go after her again. They show up at her house and take her to the conservatory, where they torture her. Kai is there, and he tells Julie that he shouldn't play Western music. After this day, Julie thinks that her friends could one day break her hands while torturing her. She is so scared of being unable to play the violin that she kills herself in the conservatory. Sparrow finds her body and takes it back to his house. On the way, he runs into Ling on the street, and she walks with him to make him feel better. When he gets home, he sees that Balut has told his Deshawn and Flying Bear to say bad things about Julie because he is afraid that the Red Guards will punish the whole family. Deshawn and Flying Bear seem to really believe the lies that Balut made them write as a show. They tell Sparrow that Julie must be guilty if she killed herself. Big Mother Knife will keep Julie's suicide a secret from Swirl and When the Dreamer for years, even though they have left China and are living in Mongolia and writing to her. Big Mother Knife tells a lie when she says that Julie is a famous singer. In Canada, Li Ling's mother died of cancer when she was an adult. As an adult, she has spent her whole life learning maths and is now a professor. She still wants to know what happened to her family, like why her father killed himself and where Ai Ming is. Since he moved to the US, Ai Ming has written notes and called every so often, but Li Ling hasn't heard from him in years. Li Ling goes to China because she wants to learn more about her family's history. There, she asks for the police report on her father's death. When she finds out where Kai's flat was, where he killed himself, she goes to see it, but she can't bring herself to go inside. After Julie dies, Sparrow is sent to the south to work in a factory that makes radios. He doesn't play music anymore. He married Ling and has a daughter named Ai Ming with her. One day, Sparrow's group of workers are told to watch something on TV. It is a televised questioning of He Luting, who has been caught by the Red Guards and is being questioned for being a rightist. But He Luting says that all the accusations against him are false, and he calls the Red Guards, many of whom were his students, out for lying. The screening stops in the middle of the questions. After a few years, Kai goes to see Sparrow. Kai is now a skilled musician who plays with an orchestra. He gives Sparrow tickets to see him play and a record player. Sparrow has stopped making music, but when he sees Kai play, he gets the urge to start again. Ai Ming hopes to go to Beijing University and study computer science when she is older, so she works hard to pass the entrance tests. She doesn't pass on her first try, but Sparrow promises to move to Beijing so she has a better chance. When Ai Ming gets to Beijing, she meets Yiwen, who lives next door and goes to college. Yiwen drags Ai Ming into the riots that are going on in the city around Tiananmen Square. Ai Ming and Yuan protest for free speech by sleeping in Tiananmen Square every night. Even Sparrow gets involved when he and his crew join a company. During the army's attack of Beijing, one of Sparrow's co-workers gets hurt. Sparrow goes out into the streets to help the co-worker, but soldiers kill him. After the army comes into the city, the riots in Tiananmen Square end. Ling finds out that if Ai Ming wants to go to Beijing University, she will have to pass a political background check. Since Ling knows that Ai Ming can't go to Beijing University because she took part in the Tiananmen Square riots, she sends Ai Ming to live with Li Ling and her family in Canada. Since Kai and Sparrow were so close, she knows that Li Ling's mother will do her this favor. She sends Ai Ming to the desert to meet Swirl and Wen the Dreamer, who are travelers. They help her cross the border into Mongolia and set her up with someone who will help her get on a plane to Canada. In 2016, Li Ling goes to Shanghai to try to put together bits and pieces of her family's past. When she meets Tofu Lu, he shows her a video of Kai playing the piano. He also puts her in touch with Yuan, who helps her make multiple copies of the Book of Records. She gives hints about where she is and leaves copies of the book online and in big cities in Beijing so that Ai Ming can find it and get in touch with her.
About the author. Madeleine Thien's mother is from Hong Kong and her father is from Malaysia. British Columbia is where she was born. She went to college to study modern dance before she focused on creative writing. Then she went to the University of British Columbia and got a Master of Arts in creative writing. She says that when she was younger, she didn't think she could make a living by writing. Still, in 1999, the Asian Canadian Writers Workshop's Emerging Writers Award went to Thien's collection of short stories, Simple Recipes. In her first book, Do Not Say We Have Nothing, she wrote about relationships between people from different countries and how families change over time. Her first book, Certainty, came out in 2006. It was about how her father grew up in Malaysia while the Japanese were in charge. She worked at City University of Hong Kong from 2010 to 2015 in the creative writing department. When she left, she wrote an article about how Hong Kong limits freedom of speech and how the creative writing course was suddenly cancelled. Do Not Say We Have Nothing, which came out in 2016 and was praised by many critics, is her most famous book so far. Thien is married to the Canadian-Lebanese writer Rawi Hage and teaches creative writing at Brooklyn College.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.